Hey friends, last time we did a video, I said every election is the most important one, including this one. I've been talking about elections a lot. And as you view this, we're about a week away from the general midterm elections in 2022. And for decades now, different politicos, including President Obama, President Trump, have after the election said elections have consequences. And indeed they do. And so the fundamental God-given right of parents really is at stake in this election cycle. And that is true at the federal level. Remember, not too many months ago, we had the Attorney General of the United States of America launch an investigation of parents who were going to school board meetings to protest or give input about the curriculum they disagreed with. And at the state level, we've seen the State Board of Education really weigh in on almost on the verge of accepting critical race theory in our curriculum in public schools. And then, of course, all over the state, we have school board elections where parents are upset about explicit books in the library and critical race theory and curriculum. So all these things matter. So I just want to articulate that elections do have consequences. And the fundamental God-given right of parents is not something that we all agree on anymore. So I want to talk about why that is important and how you can be elected. And of course, as you well know, if you're on our list, we do a very in-depth vetting of candidates. We endorse candidates. It's virtually every Republican statewide non-judicial candidate is a parental rights supporter that we have advocated for and endorsed for public office. And that includes Governor Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, Attorney General Ken Paxton, all the way down to Railroad Commissioner Wayne Christian. But many times when you get in the balloting place and you look at what's on your ballot, you will find that there are races, there are candidates on that ballot that you don't know anything about. So how do we make those decisions? I often have new voters explain to me, there's so many races, how do I know? And of course, we encourage people to get connected with groups like us, iVoter Guide, the 1776 Project PAC, and other groups that have a like-minded view and look at how they endorse candidates. But sometimes, regardless of how much prep you do, you get in there and you have no clue about who these candidates are. So I'm going to talk about my personal approach. This is not THSC, this is my personal approach on how I make a decision based on races where I don't know anything about the candidates. And the reality is that's mostly based on their campaign, or excuse me, their political party affiliation. So in Texas, we're going to have roughly 4 political parties. We have the Green Party on the left, and then the Democratic Party. Both those parties are on the far left, by the way. On the right, you have the Libertarian Party and then the Republican Party. So sometimes when you go into the balloting area, the only thing you know is which party these candidates represent. And you can basically know something about that candidate based on their party affiliation. So the Green Party is a leftist party really focused on climate change. The Democratic Party is a party that's really been captured by the radical left. If you look at their platform today, and there's links on that below, you can see that they are supporting the transgenderism philosophy. They are all about abortion at any point, including what some would call infanticide. On the right, you have the Libertarian Party, who really focused on personal freedom, even to the place of supporting drugs without any restrictions. And then, of course, you have the Republican Party. And in the last Republican Party convention, they adopted a platform that is the most parental rights supportive of any of the parties in Texas. And so if I'm going into the ballot box and I look at these candidates and I don't know anything except what party they represent, I'm going to make a choice in supporting that candidate based on their political party, because I know that at this point in time, the Republican Party of Texas supports my worldview and philosophy and view of supporting the fundamental right to life and also the fundamental God-given right of parents to make decisions for their children. And so that's the way I make that decision. This is a personal choice. You will find many on that ballot that you don't know what to do. And the other point I would make is that the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, are what are called third parties. In other words, the two major parties, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, are the major parties. And so what we've often said is in the primary season, you vote your heart. You vote for the candidate that you like best, that represents you. But when it comes to the general election, really it is a binary choice. Regardless of how many candidates are on your ballot, that election is going to be won by the Republican or the Democrat. So I know a lot of folks don't like that, and they say, Tim, what you're advocating there is a choice between the lesser of two evils. But let me just explain this. We make those kinds of choices all the time in our lives. We go to a situation and we've got two choices, we don't like either of them. We make the best choice based on the choices that are before us. And I would submit to you that in my personal approach, the Republican Party of Texas represents my worldview, and so far the platform supports the fundamental God-given right of parents to direct the care, control, and upbringing of their children. And those are the candidates that I'm going to vote for. So then the other thing you might ask is, what about these school board races? There are a bunch of school board races on the ballot. How do I know? And I've got links below where the Republican parties in local areas, like in Collin County, have endorsed candidates for school board. In Williamson County and Travis County, there's a huge fight going on. So I've linked to some of those below, but the reality is we have a choice in this election. I know it may not be as clear-cut as you would like for it to be, but we do have a choice, and as those guys often say, elections have consequences. So click on the links below for more information. I hope you'll share this video. I hope you will get your family and your like-minded friends out to vote. And thank you for helping us keep Texas families free.